Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the briefing for Carrier Scramble 2.0. Red versus blue, identical aircraft, Su-33s, F-14s, Harriers, and Hornets. Your main goal is to destroy enemy main battle tanks, T-80s, at a refueling depot at waypoint 2. At the same time, you want to defend your own forces. Whichever side destroys more enemy tanks is going to be the winner. There's no weapon restrictions. For Carrier Scramble, you start in the air this time. You're en route to land at your carrier, about 30 nautical miles from your friendly carrier fleet. You'll land at the carrier, rearm, refuel, launch, do either ground strikes or cap to defend your friendly forces. Both sides have all the same aircraft, Su-33 14s, 18s, Harriers. There's all the carrier types on here also. We got the Russian carrier, super carrier, Stennis, and the Tarawa. For this event, at all the carriers, we're going to be doing a Case 1 operations. You can look at the operating guide for the new super carrier. Has really good information on the basic Case 1 operating procedures. Case 1 operations at all the carriers. If it's busy, we'll have a holding pattern. The holding pattern will be above the carrier, left-hand turns. The lowest altitude will be 3,000 feet. Once Air Boss clears you to commence your approach, turn to go behind the carrier. You can descend down to 800 feet at that point. Then turn onto initial and pass just to the right of the carrier and go a half mile to a mile past the end of the boat, and then do your left-hand brake or your kiss off to go into the landing pattern. If there are a lot of people, we will coordinate the altitudes with Air Boss, but the lowest altitude, 3,000 feet. Case 1 landing pattern. On initial, 800 feet, you want to pass the carrier just to the right side, get about a half mile to a mile past the boat, left-hand brake, slow down, gear and flaps, 600 feet. Approach speed, fully configured. Don't forget that hook. On the super carrier, you have a binding now for the ball call. That's the only time we're going to be using the air traffic control with the super carrier, is the ball call. Come down, magical 3-wire, and then taxi clear. If you have a bolter, straight ahead, maintain gear and flaps, 600 feet, start your turn to downwind, and do it again. If someone is in the brake ahead of you and you do your bolter, follow them in the pattern. If you're on your initial and you see someone bolter, climb up to 600 feet and start their turn. Wait to do your brake until you have enough space behind them, and then get behind them in the pattern. We only have 2 or 3 people in the pattern at once, so we shouldn't be overcrowded, and we will coordinate that so nobody gets too close in the traffic pattern around the carrier. After landing, if Cat 1 is open and no one is waiting for it, taxi directly to Cat 1, hook up, rearm, refuel, and launch. If somebody's on Cat 1, nobody else is waiting, taxi up, Cat 2, hook up, rearm, refuel, and launch. If Cat 1 and 2 are occupied, follow the red line. Taxi behind Cat 1, and wait for one of the cats to open. If there are people waiting, just get in line on the red line. If you're at this point or later on the red line, go ahead and start rearming and refueling. Make sure you're clear of the blue line. If the red line is full, taxi on the blue line all the way as far as you can. If you're going to take a long time to refuel, rearm, then get on the blue line and go down as far as you can in line on the blue line and rearm and refuel at that point. When you're ready to taxi from anywhere on the blue line, talk to AirBoss and get taxi instructions on which cat you can taxi to out of the blue line. Red briefing. Air start 30 miles from the carrier fleet. Around the carriers, air traffic control is AirBoss. The super carrier is Washington, 73 X-ray. ICLS is 1. Stennis is 70 X-ray for the TACAN and ICLS 3. The Tarawa is 44 X-ray, and as always, the Russian is going to be smoking and easy to spot. Tankers. Arco 67 X-ray, that's at 17,000 feet, and on the comms radio 267.0. Tanker Texaco is 66 X-ray at 16,000 feet, and of course its frequency will be 266. Once you're away from the carriers, going into battle, GCI 250. The AI AWACS is going to be on frequency 257.8. Brief for the target area. Your friendly forces are located here. Bullseye is waypoint 1. Ground targets are at waypoint 2. Your primary targets are the T-80 main battle tanks. Ground targets at waypoint 2. SA-15, SA-8, SA-6. Manpads. Your main targets are T-80 main battle tanks. All ground forces will scatter when they are attacked. If you destroy one of these tanks, the rest of the tanks will move for about 5 seconds to try to get out of the way. So, if you're doing a GPS guided attack, you may want to only do 1 or 2 targets at a time, because once these ground forces get hit, they will move for about 5 seconds. Okay, blue side briefing. Air start about 30 miles from your carrier fleet. On the carriers, the AirBoss is going to be frequency 141. When you're around the carriers, that's air traffic control. The supercarrier is the Lincoln, 72 X-ray. ICLS will be channel 2. Stennis will be a TACAN of 74 X-ray. ICLS channel 4. Tarawa, 11 X-ray. The Russian will be smoking. Should be easy to see. Once you are away from the carriers and going into battle, GCI, frequency 250. 2 tankers, blue side, 64 X-ray, that's 264 in the frequency at 14,000. 65 X-ray, 265 at 15,000. Ground targets for the blue side. Waypoint 1 is at bullseye. Ground targets are at waypoint 2. Your main targets are the T-80 main battle tanks. Waypoint 1 is bulls. Friendly forces are to the west of bulls. Bad guys are to the east. Ground targets at waypoint 2. SA-15, SA-8, SA-6. Man pads. Your main targets are T-80 main battle tanks. All ground forces will scatter when they are attacked. If you destroy one of these tanks, the rest of the tanks will move for about 5 seconds to try to get out of the way. So, if you're doing a GPS-guided attack, you may want to only do 1 or 2 targets at a time, because once these ground forces get hit, they will move for about 5 seconds.